Every company racing to build artificial intelligence runs into the same wall. Not chips, not talent, but power. A single rack of AI computers can draw more electricity than a small street of houses. Fill a building with them and you need the power of a town. Fill a campus and you need the power of a city. So the real question of the AI age is quietly becoming an old one. Who has the energy? And one country has looked at that question and at its own deserts and decided the answer is here. This is a story of HUMAIN and the bet that the future will be built wherever the power is the cheapest. HUMAIN did not exist 18 months ago. It was launched in May 2025, owned by the Public Investment Fund in Saudi and chaired by the Crown Prince himself. Its purpose is simple to say and enormous to attempt. Build the nation's AI end to end. The data centers, the cloud, the chips, the models. It's ironic they brought in Tariq Amin, an engineer who had built telecom networks for Rakuten in Japan and Jio in India, then led the digital arm of Aramco, the Saudi oil giant. Think about that last detail for a moment. The man now building the country's intelligence infrastructure came from his oil company. That is not a coincidence. It is the whole strategy in a single career. Because here is what HUMAIN has that almost no one else does. In the CEO's own words, the unique value Saudi Arabia offers the world is power, an abundance that he called, and I quote, utterly remarkable. The company says it can draw on more than 15 gigawatts of power availability at the right price. And that cheap, abundant energy cuts the total cost of running AI by 20 to 30% roughly. Sit with that number because it is at the heart of everything. When two companies run the same AI on the same chips, the one paying less for electricity basically wins. Not by a little, but by a third. Most of the world is fighting over a shrinking supply of grid capacity. Saudi Arabia is sitting on a surplus, and it has decided to sell that surplus to the world in a new form, not as barrels of oil, but as tokens of intelligence. So what are they actually building? The plan is staggering, and it is already in the ground. The first data centers in Riyadh and Dammam broke ground in 2025 and came online this year at 100 megawatts each. But those are the seed. HUMAIN has secured 211 plots of land across the kingdom and tendered a single campus in East Riyadh designed for 6 gigawatts of computing power, spread over 24 square kilometers. The roadmap is public: 1.9 gigawatts of AI capacity by 2030, around 6 gigawatts within the decade. To feed it, the chips are arriving at scale few nations will ever see. A first shipment of 18,000 of NVIDIA's newest Blackwell processors, then approval to buy up to 35,000 of the even newer GB300 systems, a $10 billion joint venture with AMD, up to 150,000 accelerators committed by Amazon. This is not a pilot. It is a national industrial build, the way earlier generations built railways or oil fields. And here is where HUMAIN becomes more interesting than just a landlord for other people's computers. They are building their own software too, an Arabic first language model called Alam and an operating system called HUMAIN 1, where instead of opening applications, you simply state what you want and a team of AI agents does the work across every system. More than 150 of those agents already run the company's own back office. Then in May 26, they went global with it, partnering with Amazon Web Services to offer HUMAIN 1 to the world on a sovereign cloud region inside the kingdom. So the ambition is not to rent out power and stop there, it's to own the whole stack. The energy, the buildings, the chips, the cloud, the models, and the agents that run on top, from the Electron all the way up to the Answer. Now the grounded part, because ambition this big deserves an honest look at the work still ahead. Announced capacity is not the same as energized capacity. A finished building needs power flowing through it, and that means substations, high voltage lines, and grid connections. The slow and glamorous engineering that turns a plan into a running machine. Talent is scarce, and every nation on earth is hiring the same engineers. And a national champion backed by the state earns its credibility by winning real paying customers, not just serving government work. The encouraging part is that HUMAIN is already clearing these bars. Its first big commercial cluster was booked by an American company before it was even built. The financing is structured to scale in stages, matched to demand. The chips are contracted, the land is secure, the partners are named. These are not warning signs. They're the ordinary difficult work of turning one of the boldest industrial bets of the decade into power on a wire. And so far, it's on schedule. So step back and look at what is really happening here. For 100 years, this country's place in the world was defined by one resource beneath its sand: energy. It sold that energy and the world ran on it. Now the world is building a new kind of engine, one that runs on electricity and intelligence instead of oil. And Saudi Arabia has looked at that engine and realized it still holds the thing it always held: the power to run it. The build is real, and it is happening at a pace few countries can match. 15 gigawatts of power availability, frontier chips arriving by the tens of thousands, a sovereign cloud, an Arabic first model, and an operating system already sold to the world through Amazon. First customers signed before the concrete had set. There's hard engineering still ahead. Energizing gigawatts takes substations and time. Talent is scarce everywhere, but the foundation is poured, the capital is patient, and the direction is set. A nation built on selling the world its energy has decided to help build the thing the world will run on next: intelligence. And it's doing it with one advantage nobody can move or copy or sanction: the power in its own ground. That is the bet, and they're pouring the concrete on it right now.